Good for him.
Sorry about the delay. I was waiting for the assistant superintendent, who unfortunately is not going to make it. We had a situation where she is unable. So, you're stuck with just me. Good evening, my name is Bill Winkler. I'm the principal here at Strongsville High School. Tonight is the top 5% award ceremony, and this one is a little bit different. First off, this is my favorite award ceremony of the year. It highlights, number one, the outstanding achievement of some of our finest kids. In order to be in this group, you had to have a cumulative GPA in the top 5% of your class. This class has roughly around 460 students, which means 23, the top 23 made this. And I will tell you, if you look at the GPAs at the top, I haven't memorized them, but I know what number 23 was. It was about 4.6, which means somewhere walking through Strongsville High School, there was a student with a 4.59 that did not make it tonight, which tells you to the elite level at which these young people achieved. The other highlight of tonight is, after I'm done doing this and maybe a little closing, the kids are the ones who are going to be doing the talking. The way this works is, once I call them up, they will read a short speech they've written about a teacher that inspires them. And what more fitting week to do than Teacher Appreciation Week, to highlight both the wonderful teachers we have and the outstanding children that have worked and grown with them. Some of the teachers who are here tonight aren't even from the high school. Some of the kids go back to the teachers they had many years ago, which shows you the powerful impact that the staff has had on these students. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And the way this works, I will call the student up. They will come up and read their speech. And then the teacher, they will announce the teacher's name. The teacher has to come up. We want to make sure we embarrass the teachers as much as possible. So they have to come up here when they hear the wonderful things about them. So students, call your teacher's name first. Make them stand up here while you read your speech. I think that's the best way of doing it. So let's start off with our first tonight is Madeline Atkins, who is attending Notre Dame College, Notre Dame University, excuse me, with a major in finance.
First, I'd like to give a huge thank you to my family, Dr. Iva, Mr. Wingler, all the assistant principals and the staff members who support us every day. I also want to give a special thank you to Mrs. Har, who kindly volunteered to be the advisor for Debate Club. She is always so generous with her time and has been a wonderful mentor. The teacher I would like to recognize is Mr. Boros. Mr. Boros was my honors pre-calculus teacher, which is a class many students are warned about. I wasn't sure what to expect, but from the very first day, Mr. Boros made us all feel welcome. He encouraged us to keep open minds and embrace the challenge ahead. His passion for teaching and deep knowledge of the material brought a contagious energy to the classroom. But Mr. Boros is more than just a great math teacher. He's a genuinely kind and compassionate person, and he always made the time to help. I remember how Mr. Boros consistently encouraged me to ask questions and stay curious. I often came in during his lunch period to get clarification on a question or a better understanding on a topic. No matter how long it took or how many questions I had, helping me was a priority. He encouraged understanding and perseverance. He brought out all the best qualities in his students and continues to put others before himself. That consistent support helped me grow more confident, not just in math, but the way I approach challenges. Even after my junior year, Mr. Boros continued to check in. He always welcomed me into his classroom, said hello when passing in the hallway, and showed a genuine interest in my future. He was happy to write letters of recommendation for me and celebrated my achievements along the way. When I told him about the college I would be attending, he shared my excitement as if it were his own. Mr. Boros helped his students grow not only academically but as people. I left his class more confident, more resilient, and more inspired. I learned more than just math. I learned lessons I'll carry with me far beyond high school. Mr. Boros, thank you for your teaching, your encouragement, and most of all, for being you.
I'd like to give a special shout out to Mr. Boros because it is also his birthday today. Next student, attending the University of Akron, majoring in statistics and actuarial science, is Caleb Baker.
First off, I would like to thank everybody here for coming here tonight and to recognize all the fantastic and dedicated teachers who put their time and work to help us all. I would first like to call up Mr. Felton to the stage at this time. Two years ago, looking at my sophomore schedule during the summer, I saw that Mr. Felton was listed as my honors chemistry teacher. I'd heard good things about his teaching in classes my freshman year and anticipated and was looking forward to taking his class. Little did I know how much I would learn and grow by having him the next 2 years of my high school. During the honors chemistry class, Mr. Felton always came to class with a smile on his face, eager to interact and talk with us and teach us. He always had a story to tell us, whether funny or knowledgeable, and easily kept us engaged with him and easily kept us from becoming easily distracted. Remember one day I came into school wearing a Heinz tomato ketchup shirt, and as soon as Mr. Felton saw it, he launched into a story about him and his college fraternity explored an abandoned Heinz factory and made everybody laugh and interact that day. He even sent a text to his old college fraternity bud, with me in the shirt, of course, reminding him of the story, really just bringing out how he reaches out to so many other people. Naturally, doing good in honors chemistry, I decided to take AP chemistry, not knowing exactly what I was putting myself into. The year started off pretty well, but as the days and weeks went by, I realized I had to put in more effort to practice and pass the exam. Thankfully, Mr. Felton allowed me to study in his room during my lunch period and let me ask him any questions that I had. He provided knowledge and study tools to help me pass and made himself available so I could review with him. He took time out of his day to just help one lost student with chemistry, and doing so with a warm and caring heart. His dedication to reviewing with me and assisting me with all this knowledge eventually helped me to take the AP Chem exam with confidence. I grew up from a student with very little trust in my chemistry skills to being able to be ready to tackle one of the hardest AP exams. Mr. Felton is always devoted to his students and takes the time out of the school day to succeed and help grow his students' confidence. During each year of my high school, it is always a pleasure to talk to him in the halls about my day, about how I am feeling, and even if the day is a 55 out of 100 or a 90 out of 100, I inevitably feel like in a better mood after talking to him. He is just that kind of person, extremely smart and knowledgeable to his students, and yet approachable as a mentor for guidance. I wish I had more time to share with you all of more of his amazing qualities and stories. Thank you, Mr. Felton, for impacting my high school life so much.
Our next student, attending Baldwin Wallace with a major in English, Susanna Chen.
Would Ms. Powell please join me on stage? In Ms. Powell's AP Government class, she taught us the term political efficacy, which is the belief that every vote matters. Similarly to this, she treats each of her students with extreme compassion. She has the ability to make each student feel seen and spoken directly to. Her dedication, genuine interest, and passion are contagious, creating an enthusiastic, creative environment. She keeps us informed that there are many sides to a single story, taking the time to connect with each student individually and helping us to apply knowledge not only academically, but in our individual lives. She told me that standards aren't everything, that a test, AP class, or GPA shouldn't define us. She reminded me of the pressures surrounding students to be the top of their class or the most involved with extracurriculars or to go to an Ivy League school. But in reality, that's not all that matters. What matters is the ability to know your limits, do your best, and commit yourself. So not just to a passionate educator, but to a wise mentor and welcoming friend, thank you for everything.
Our next student, attending Ohio University with a major in biochemistry is Max Ceramic.
So, I would like to call up Mr. Felton. So, entering high school, I never knew that one single teacher would impact my interest in college. That was until I spent 2 consecutive years learning chemistry in Mr. Felton's class. Entering honors chemistry for the first time in my sophomore year, I thought this class would be the most stressful time of my life. That was the case for about 2 minutes until Mr. Felton began talking in his relaxing, conversational tone. The energy he brought every day was so welcoming that I decided 1 year of chemistry wasn't enough, so off to AP I went, hence the 2 years. In the moment, as we ignited Bunsen burners to perform lab experiments, Mr. Felton simultaneously ignited my passion for this mathematical science. Now I find myself being accepted as one of 3 applicants in a unique chemistry program at OU. But his class wasn't all ice tables, periodic tables, and molecules. It was a time to recharge and get a few laughs out as long days came to a close. It was always a joy to listen to the interesting adventures he had, ranging from the girls' soccer team to his Uber driver Marcelo. From that past weekend, one would think his life was pure chaos, just like our unit on entropy and thermodynamics. That being said, his personality was always stable and a constant each day. On another note, the quality I admire most was not the way he taught or his interest in science. It was his appreciation and love for his family and students alike. Without hesitation, he would proudly tell my class funny stories about his wife, the accomplishments of his hockey player's son, or the bright future of a daughter of his. Among many other familial anecdotes, among many others. On top of his blood family, he was proud of his chemistry family as well, by telling us stories of former students and where they are now, and how they are no different from where we are. Just as he presented molecules bonding together by hydrogen or covalent bonds, he showcased his bonds with family, friends, students, and strangers. As someone who struggles to meet new people and connect, Mr. Felton is a person I aspire to become. Someone who has strong relationships with his family, his peers, his students, and his Uber drivers, apparently. If the struggles of life were negatively charged electrons, Mr. Felton would be those positive protons that determine the identity of an element. I was insane enough to endure 2 straight years of grueling chemistry and still believe it was a good idea to choose as my college major, because Mr. Felton made me feel like I was a natural-born chemist. Every time I struggled during the first unit of class to even 2 weeks before the AP exam, Mr. Felton would never stop encouraging me to work harder, even when I believed I was already working my hardest. As someone who saw the best in all his students, he supported everyone through the easiest and hardest times. Even when I scored a 90% on one of his tests, he said, "Not your best work," a sentence that stuck with me as a sign that his students always had room for improvement. For me, Mr. Felton was not only an incredible educator, but also an exemplary family man, a sturdy pillar holding up the roof of a building, and a ray of sunshine piercing through on the cloudiest of days. Without him, it would be a mystery where I would be now, but more importantly, where I want to head in the future.
Next student, attending The Ohio State University with a major in mechanical engineering, Adam Devine.
Mr. Stellar. I love to learn, and when I think of what a student should be, it is someone who loves learning and is always seeking out new knowledge. However, it's not always easy to want to learn, and that's why incredible teachers are so important. Teachers should instill a passion and drive for learning, and I feel that's exactly what Mr. Stellar has done for me in my time throughout the high school. School can often be a challenge, especially for students who want to challenge themselves. Learning a lot can take a lot of time and require a lot of work. It's really easy to get stressed out and when I have a lot of work in my classes. However, my engineering classes are always the highlight of my day. No matter what I have going on, I always know that when I go to engineering, I'm going to enjoy it. Mr. Stellar has done an incredible job allowing me to learn and have fun. The goal of an engineer is to solve problems, so rather than give us all the answers, we're challenged to find a solution ourselves. And I've always felt that engineering classes did a great job of teaching me problem solving. Most importantly, I feel as though I've learned vast amounts of things through my classes with Mr. Stellar. He does a great job fostering an environment that focuses on learning while also focusing on exploration. Every project or assignment that we have has the opportunity to be explored in hundreds of different ways, and I've always loved that I've been given the opportunity to explore and learn more beyond just what's to do with an assignment. I would like to thank Mr. Stellar for having a very large impact on my time at the high school, and also for putting up with me for 4 years. Each and every day in class, I have so much fun, and I hope that everyone else has had at least one class that they can have as much fun as I do at engineering. I feel that Mr. Stellar has allowed me to thrive throughout high school and further help me towards my future goals, and for that I'm exceedingly grateful.
The next student attending Clemson University with a major in industrial engineering, Estelle Friedrich.
I have had many amazing teachers at Strongsville, and it was difficult to pick just one. However, when choosing the teacher I wanted to honor, Mrs. Hassler immediately came to mind. Mrs. Hassler was my math teacher junior year when I took AP Calc. One of my favorite things about Mrs. Hassler is her passion for teaching in math. This excitement was so contagious, it made sometimes boring topics more bearable. Her genuine interest in her students' lives, even outside the classroom, was always appreciated. She was extremely supportive of my swimming and consistently asked about the team. She is very involved in the Strongsville community, whether it be doing something with her family or supporting her students at events. One time, she and her son even volunteered at a Strongsville track meet and helped me hand out water. She is truly a teacher with school spirit that will go above and beyond for her school. Thank you for everything you've done for Strongsville High School. You make such an impact on your students' lives, and I'm grateful I've had the opportunity to recognize you.
The next student attending The Ohio State University with a major in biology, Sienna Grillo.
I would like to recognize Mr. Collins. Mr. Collins, your support, guidance, and belief in me have meant more to me than I can put into words. In my 4 years full of challenges, your encouragement never wavered, and for that, I'm endlessly grateful. AP Human Geography was my first AP course, first period, and on my first day, I walked in incredibly nervous, not really knowing what the letters AP meant, except for that it would look better for college. However, I walked out of this class with 5 more AP classes scheduled in the confidence that I would pass them all. I remember sitting in his classroom after completely bombing the first test, staring at my grade like it confirmed everything I was afraid of. It felt like I was already falling behind before I even had the chance to figure things out. I was overthinking every question I missed, wondering if I had made a mistake signing up for an AP class at all. I didn't feel smart enough, and I didn't feel like I belonged in the class, but Mr. Collins never treated any of us like our worth depended on our scores. He didn't act like we were just potential 3, 4s, or 5s on an AP test. He talked to us like we had potential, like we were capable of things past basic comprehension and doing more than just going through the motions, and slowly I started to see that in myself too. I stopped obsessing over the idea of being perfect and started focusing on actually learning. I realized I was capable of more than just keeping up, and I could prosper in the AP environment. It wasn't just about the class anymore, it was about finally seeing that I had something to offer, that I could show up, contribute, and grow in a way that mattered. That shift started in Mr. Collins' classroom, and it stayed with me ever since. However, at this point in my life, there were days that I didn't even want to get out of bed. But when I walked into first period AP Human Geography, it was all different. Your classroom wasn't just a room full of desks and a smartboard with the agriculture slides ready to go, but it gave me peace even if it was just 42 minutes. It was quiet in the best way, with the buzz of the AC blocking out all the noise, even sometimes some of the teaching. But it was also loud and chaotic in the best way, full of energy, laughter, and moments where someone would say something completely random and the whole class would start laughing. I didn't feel like any other person walking into a first period class. You made me feel like I mattered. You were the first teacher who made me feel like who I was, not just what I could do, was enough. And in a time where I was silently fighting battles no one else could see, that meant absolutely everything. I remember the first week before the AP exam, I was so overwhelmed I ended up having a 10-hour study session at Market District. It was my first AP test and I was stressing so hard, convinced I wasn't ready after staying after school on the weekends doing practice test after practice test. But by the end of that day, I had written out a whole page and a half of questions to ask, and I brought them to Mr. Collins the next day, and it didn't make me feel dumb or dramatic. He sat with me and went through every single question, one by one, until I actually understood them. That moment stuck with me because it wasn't about just helping me pass the test. It was about the way he showed up and the way he genuinely cared, even not just if I passed the test, but more about how I felt about it. So thank you, not just for the experience you gave me in the class, but by sticking around for always being there for me after the class was over. Thank you for every weird wave in the hallway. Thank you for every time you let me sit in your room and talk. Thank you for being there for my research presentation, and thank you for being the most genuine teacher I've ever had. Thank you for your patience, encouragement, and your care, for the way you've lifted me up when I didn't even realize I needed lifting. You've changed the trajectory of my life more than you know. Thank you.
Our next student, attending Case Western Reserve University with a major in pre-med, Jude Hanna.
Hey, how's it going? Before I get into this, I would like to first give thanks to Mr. Wingler, who I think, I'm not exactly sure, organized the whole event. Can we give some applause for him? And then to Amanish, sitting near the front to your left, who would literally give the shirt off his back to help me, which he did. I came here in a hoodie and he gave me a sweater, so thank you. And now I'd like to call Mr. Scott up here. You know, I like the speech that I made, but I don't think it really encapsulates you well, so I'm going to come up with something right now. I think you can be boiled down to two things. Two things which make you great. Firstly, you have such a connection with the classroom. You know what it's like to be a student, right? You seem to understand that we have 6 other classes. We have so many other things that we have to contend with, and you seem to cater to that. If the class simply isn't engaged, if it isn't feeling up to doing some math, you're willing to sort of shift plans a little bit, take a bit of a more relaxed day, which sometimes leads to some schedule crunches, but overall, it's great. When you set a schedule, you be sure that we are, for the most part, sticking to that. A test on this day planned 3 weeks in advance will be on that day exactly. You will give a week for homework to allow students to, complete that on their own time. If they're busy, they can do it later that week. You just really seem to accommodate really well for the needs of the students. And secondly is what I like to call a flexible consistency. This might sound a bit contradictory, but I think it fits you perfectly. Like I said, you're willing to change plans if needed, and that extends even beyond just your schedule to how you teach, right? Let me give you an example. This guy right here was rated the 3rd funniest president of this high school, and he brings that up constantly. There's consistency. But here's where it's a bit flexible. He might bring it up out of literally nowhere for seemingly no reason, but it does wake up the class, so I'll give him that. Really, when it comes to the schoolwork, you know what you're getting, and that helps immensely. But when it comes to how he acts and how he caters to the classroom, you never know what you're going to get. And that, I think, makes him the perfect teacher.
Well, it's a good thing, Jude, that I spent so much time reading every single speech beforehand. Nothing makes a principal heart skip a little more than a kid go, I'm not going to read what I wrote. Very well said, though. The next student is not here this evening. Is Marcus Holloman, who is attending University of Cincinnati in a major in computer science. He could not make it. He selected Mrs. Heather McGrath, who is now an assistant principal, was one of his former science teachers, and he wrote something for her that he gave to her today. I don't have it, but I just wanted to give her a shout out since she's not here this evening. Thank you. The next student attending The Ohio State University with a major in mechanical engineering is Gabriella Keefe.
I'd like to recognize Mr. Seller. Dear Mr. Seller, I'm so proud to say that I'm part of the first class you've had these past 4 years at Strongsville. Over the course of 4 years, your teaching has shown me which engineering fields I would like and also not like to pursue in my future. Without the introduction to Onshape, countless Vex creations, and fun light projects, my spark for engineering would not nearly be as bright. From the first day of IED, I felt so welcomed in your class. I look forward to engineering each day, knowing I'd have a friendly face and someone to ask the class, how's everyone doing today? As the numbers have gotten smaller, the class environment has only drawn closer. One memory that really highlights the familiar class environment you've created is when everyone sang happy birthday to me. Some of my favorite days in class were our class breakfasts when we each brought in our own breakfast food. While I'll miss all of your jokes about our EDD projects and the IED classes, I have to thank you for always expressing your belief in me. I still remember the 3rd quarter of my sophomore year when I was chosen as Polaris Student of the Quarter. After battling with multi-sim throughout the digital electronics course, I felt extremely appreciated for my hard work to be recognized. You've always pushed me and the class to try our best while also encouraging us to take our own creative liberties on our projects. You've taught me a wide assortment of programs, skills, and procedures that I use as I begin my engineering journey. Most importantly, because of you, I have learned my passion for engineering. Your support has been an inspiration as I have completed these courses. Thank you, Mr. Steller.
The next student attending The Ohio State University with a major in biology and/or pre-med, Elena Kelly.
Even though I never technically had a teacher, I'd like to recognize my mom, Mrs. Kelly, tonight. Don't cry. If you cry, I'm going to cry. Oh, okay. She's not going to like me. I don't think I've ever met someone as caring as my mom. She never fails to put others before herself, and she lights up every room that she enters. When hearing her talk about her students throughout the years, it's impossible not to notice the love behind her words. I've watched her go out of her way to help all of them, no matter how difficult. I've seen the millions of connections she's made with others in this building as we walk the halls together, and somehow she knows everyone. She also always knows the most intricate details about everyone's lives because she cares enough to ask and listen, and for that, I'm so thankful. My mom has taught me more than any teacher ever could. She taught me what it means to be selfless, empathetic, and caring. I hope she sees how many lives that she's touched and understands that her kindness doesn't go unnoticed. I'm so glad that I got the opportunity to give her this award because I've seen firsthand how much she deserves it. I wouldn't even be a part of the top 5% if it wasn't for her. I'm definitely going to miss being able to eat lunch with her together in her office and seeing her every day, but I'll always carry her support with me. I'm so lucky to I'm so lucky to have you as my mom. I love you more than words can express. Thank you for everything.
The next student attending Cleveland State University with a major in pre-nursing, Daniel Kurtz. So Daniel is unable to be here this evening. He is honoring Mr. Scott, who wants me to do a really long speech with him standing. No, he doesn't want that. So we're not going to do that for Mr. Scott. No. I'm going to go off script, Mr. Scott. Next student attending The Ohio State University in a major in biomedical engineering, Hannah Lee.
Unfortunately for my speech, I'll have to be starting with some bad news, and it's the fact that this will be Mr. Klein's last crystal apple until his next one. So please come up here. As almost everyone knows, this is one of Mr. Klein's famous comments he would say before before every test, filling the room with half-hearted, mildly strained smiles. As trivial as these bits may seem, though, Mr. Klein's kind spirit and inspiring nature were shown through actions like those. One of my most prominent memories of him was when he threw a ball at a fly from halfway across the room, which he quite literally jumped for joy at his accomplishment. My class though didn't exactly mirror his enthusiasm though, as we all stared blankly at the scene unfolding before us, much to his disappointment, which he never fails to remind me of whenever I talk to him. Throughout that year, he had been frustrated by our lack of interaction within his classroom, asking us time and time again to just give him a pity laugh at his jokes, or maybe just show some excitement for once. Being as shy as I am in a class filled with people I didn't know, I was scared to speak up. However, even with my lack of sociability within his classroom, he found a way to connect. He would ask me about golf, my brothers, my complaints about school. He would even listen to my opinions on math topics. He would congratulate me on my achievements, no matter how small they may have been. Mr. Klein, rather than giving up on my awkward silence, chose to encourage me. I realized then that he genuinely, truly wanted to understand his students more than just by name, as he cared for each and every student that he had. His enthusiasm over small victories, such as sniping a fly, were due to his true passion for teaching, or even by the simplest things, like his little comments before each test. So, just like his tests, the first question we were asked when we were about who would receive this award was, name? Though on your test the answers may have varied, the only correct one for who this award belonged to was you, Mr. Klein.
The next student, attending The Ohio State University with a major in neuroscience, Abrish Malik.
Okay, I'd like to first say that my biggest fear tonight, which was moving that microphone down, is finally done. And I'm not the first person to say this tonight, and I'm definitely not going to be the last, but tonight I'll be honoring Mr. Klein. Math has never been my strong suit. I always felt confident in subjects such as reading and science. Math was always my Achilles heel. Up until my sophomore year, I passed my math classes without much thought, other than how much I disliked them, more so hated them. That all changed when I took Mr. Klein's class. For the first time, I didn't just struggle, I failed. Not in the traditional sense, but in the sense that I could no longer just coast by. I not only had to work, but I had to learn. At the beginning of the year, I wanted to give up and drop the class. Honestly, the sentiment went on for a lot longer. I tried to drop the class 3 times. But Mr. Klein wouldn't let me. He challenged me to change the way I approach math, to stop being afraid of mistakes, and to start engaging with the material. Although math was my last class of the day, I came determined to ask questions. Mr. Klein created a classroom that felt not just okay, but encouraged. He helped me and so many other students understand that vulnerability is a part of learning, that asking for help isn't a weakness, but a strength. The mindset I developed in Mr. Klein's class then carried on to other classes, such as his honors pre-calculus class I took the following year. When I signed up for the class, I heard all the warnings, how it's the hardest class at our school. But instead of fearing it, I felt ready. I knew I had a teacher who believed in me and would help me succeed as long as I also put in the effort. Mr. Klein didn't just teach math, he taught me resilience, curiosity, and the value of persistence. He helped me realize that while math may not have been my natural strength, it wasn't a weakness either. It was a challenge I could face and a subject I could understand with the right mindset and support. Mr. Klein was able to help me and many other students change our perception of education, to not define ourselves by how good we are by the test grade we got, but how much we were willing to grow. And although I never ended up getting the math magician pencil I worked too hard 2 years to get, Mr. Klein, you're pretty all right.
next student, attending John Carroll University with a major in finance and actuarial science, Brianna Moriel.
Hello, today I would like to recognize Mr. Boros. I had the pleasure of having Mr. Boros for honors pre-calculus. When I took the class, it was Mr. Boros' first year teaching it. To be completely honest, I was a little nervous knowing that he had not taught the course previously. And I'm sorry to admit that I ever doubted his capabilities, because I quickly discovered that if I had not known it was his first year teaching the class, I would have never even for a second thought that it was. He taught the class as if he had always taught it, knowing the course material in and out. So much so that every question I asked, and when I tell you I asked a lot of questions, he immediately gave me answers along with in-depth explanations. Early on, I already knew that I would be choosing Mr. Boros for this award. The decision was quite easy for numerous reasons. I find that Mr. Boros is a quite remarkable person, and he continues to inspire me. Not only was Mr. Boros adjusting to teaching a new course, but also at the same time, he was learning the AP Calculus BC curriculum. All of that, and he would still grade our tests by the end of the day. In addition, he would always, without a doubt, make time to help his students. Whether it was quickly between classes, in one of his free periods, at the end of class, or whenever, Mr. Boros always took the time to answer my questions. Whether I had 2 questions or 20, he would take as much time as it needed to make sure that I fully understood the material before I left the room. Mr. Boros, thank you for giving your time to help me succeed, for seeing potential in me when I did not see it in myself, for helping me learn from my mistakes, and mostly for always believing in me. On behalf of all of your students, we appreciate all that you do for us. Thank you.
Our next student, attending the University of Dayton with a major in biology, Anna Painter.
All right, Mr. Klein, you're halfway done after this. Algebra 2 trade class, sophomore year, not even knowing how to begin some of the questions. In the days and weeks following, I would roll my eyes whenever he said we would be having a challenge day, knowing that meant I would actually have to think about the problem and not just follow a specific set of instructions like I was used to doing. As the year went on and more unfamiliar questions got thrown my way, I started to feel more comfortable with trying different methods, even if that method didn't lead me to the correct answer the first time. 1 year later, as I sat in Mr. Klein's honors pre-calc class, I was prepared to work hard, actually looking forward to the challenge of problem solving instead of dreading it. But what makes Mr. Klein truly special wasn't the way he taught us how to problem solve, it was the way he genuinely cared. He took the time to get to know each of us, always asking about our lives outside the classroom, and taking time out of his busy schedule to watch our games and cheer us on, even if we were playing Brunswick. Now, whenever I come across a challenge, instead of immediately wanting to give up, I know how to work through it and come to a solution, all thanks to you, Mr. Klein. Your class made me a harder worker, something I will carry with me long after I've finished solving for X.
Our next student, attending the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, majoring in neuroengineering, John Papandreas. And let me just add, fresh off of a GCC clinching volleyball.
Yeah, guys, I'm low-key so sorry. This fit is awful, but I had to come straight here, so. Before I begin, I just wanted to say that it was a difficult task to choose one teacher out of all the amazing educators here at Strongsville to honor tonight. Thank you all, you know who you are. So I want to begin with one of my favorite quotes from Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist, which if you're my friend, you know how much I love that book, so you know I had to include it. It reads, "When we love, we always strive to become better than we are. When we strive to become better than we are, everything around us becomes better too." In my 4 years at Strongsville High School, Mr. Collins has shown me the vast impact a teacher who is dedicated to improving their craft can have on a student. Mr. Collins, come up here. So, I was in Mr. Collins' AP Human Geography class my sophomore year. And like Sienna said, it was also my first AP class, and I remember doubting myself and my abilities. From our first class to the AP exam, Mr. Collins made it clear that he believed in me each and every day. His devotion to us in our class is a testament to his love of improving those around him. One of my most vivid memories is from the end of the year, just before our AP exam. We were doing a practice free response question, and that day, I remember not putting my full effort into the question. When I went up to Mr. Collins to check my work, he pulled me aside and pointed out the errors. Instead of saying that I needed to try harder for my own sake, he said, "You are too good to make mistakes like this. I believe in you." And those words echoed in my mind. To know that someone wants the best for you that much, enough to say it straight to your face, is a powerful thing. Now I stand here ready to cross the stage of graduation in a few short weeks. I think back to sophomore year me, almost unrecognizable to who I am now. That person was someone who was unsure of themselves, unsure of their abilities, their fears, their goals. That confidence was instilled by Mr. Collins. The jokes we share about my synthetic pineapple farm that I still think is such a good idea, and when it happens, you guys are all gonna buy my pineapples. And my nickname that has somehow transcended the AP Human Geography class of Pappy, that every time I see him in the hallway, I just know to listen for it, and I'm like, oh, there's Mr. Collins. That person, and those memories are special, but the real gold lies in the impact he had on me beyond the 9 months we shared in class. Mr. Collins' commitment to bettering his class influenced me to evolve into a better version of myself. Stepping into the future, I realized that so much of my growth here at Strongsville is owed to him. Thank you, Mr. Collins.
It's okay to show up dressed like that if you want, John.
Yes.
All right, our next student, attending Case Western Reserve University with a major in math and physics, Avanish Polakanda.
To all the parents and teachers here, to everyone online watching also, hi. My name is Avanish Polakanda. For those of you who don't know me, I'm probably that one kid who always is talked about behind my back in a good way, or in a bad way, I don't know. But okay, from the moment I set foot into this high school, I was a scared little scared little freshman, and scared of all the classes, scared of all the people and all the teachers who I thought were just had it out for me, like strict grades, strict homework. Right? But throughout my high school, I've met a few people who have changed my lives in ways that I really could not have imagined before coming to this high school. One of those people is Mrs. Brusky, who's been behind me in all my achievements for these 4 years. So. I'll enlighten you all with one of my experiences where I was freaking out, arrived at school looking like I had just woken up, or also got ran over by a truck. And it was about the simplest of things, because I just didn't know what was going on. And I'm sure all of you know that feeling, especially with college coming up. But having these people, like Mrs. Brusky, like all the great teachers that I've had, to support us and have that confidence in us, when it seems like we don't have that confidence in ourselves, is something that really you can't live without. And so for that, I'd like to thank you, Mrs. Brusky, for being behind me for these 4 years of my life, and I will not forget what you've done.
The next student attending The Ohio State University with Biology Pre-Med, Alexia Popov.
Hi everyone. The person I'd like to recognize today is Mr. Klein. Words cannot begin to describe how much I appreciate and respect Mr. Klein. He was the first teacher who truly challenged me in every aspect. Without Mr. Klein, I would not be who I am today. I walked out of his class a completely different person than I was walking in. During my freshman year, I heard warnings about his honors pre-calculus class. People even discouraged me from taking it, but I always enjoyed a challenge, and his class was exactly that. After the first test, I realized just how different his class was from every other one I'd taken. I had to think outside the box on a math test. My ability to consider questions that could be asked, but were never directly taught, stems from the questions that Mr. Klein asked. He completely changed my thinking and approach not only towards studying, but towards learning. He constantly pushed me to think beyond what was presented. Because of him, I now ask myself though, what if he asks questions when I study? The first time I ever had to leave something blank on a test was in Mr. Klein's class. I remember leaving that class that day fully believing I had received my first failing grade. Mr. Klein put the test grades in that night and I had gotten an A. I walked into his room the next day and remember the exact grading he gave me. Congratulations on your test yesterday. I bet you were glad to see it. I didn't know what he meant at first, but he quickly followed up his words by saying, when you left my room yesterday, you looked defeated. Hearing and understanding these words only made me want to work harder. There was another time where I could not understand the material we were learning at all. This was one of the first times I have ever felt lost in a class. I remember going in during my lunch period, and Mr. Klein was more than willing to give up his lunch in order to help me. I could tell from day one that no one cares about his students like he does. Even now, I know I can go to him with anything, whether I need advice, support, or help, and he would be there for me without hesitation. Mr. Klein teaches with a passion, care, and drive that I have never seen in another teacher before. He inspires me every day to be a better person and to always want to grasp more. It was because of Mr. Klein that I learned that failure was okay as long as you get back up and try again. It was because of Mr. Klein that I learned to think outside the box when it came to studying and learning new material. It was because of Mr. Klein that I am the person I am today. There aren't enough words to describe how grateful I am to have had him as my teacher.
Our next student attending Wake Forest University with a major in biophysics, Joelle Rush.
And for his 5th hop on stage this time, my honoree is gladly Mr. Klein. Without fail, the first few minutes of my 8th period honors algebra 2 trig math class would be started with a conversation. From the very beginning of the year, Mr. Klein found opportunities to connect with students outside of just the math subject. He would ask about the design on his student's shirt out of curiosity and care for their interests. He became aware of what sports teams my classmates were on and personally asked me about what it was like to be a cheerleader and a member of the dance team. From then on, I spotted him at the home football games supporting the players from the stands. He never failed to remember the current details about his students' lives. By the time the bell rang 2:25 my sophomore year, I could leave SHS feeling significant. To end my school day knowing I was important to someone other than myself was such a blessing, and I cannot thank him enough. Mr. Klein sings sincerity in every person and, along with it, potential. I've never had a teacher who saw me not for what kind of student I was, but for my potential as a human being to the degree that he did. The skills I learned in his math classes over the years had much less to do with the curriculum than it did with the skills of being a person. He created a community within his classroom, a warming environment I will never forget. Mr. Klein was my math teacher for 2 years, and as a sophomore and junior, and even now in my senior year, I find my friends and I going out of our ways to catch up with him about college, about sports, and about our lives as people. He has shown me the power of passion, as it is evident he was made to be a teacher and a supporter of his students. As I enter into my college years, it is Mr. Klein who inspires me to seek that amount of passion in myself and to encourage it in the people around me. For these reasons, and many more, he is the teacher who has inspired me the most during my high school career. He will continue to do so even when I no longer step foot in Strongsville High School as a student.
The next student attending Miami University with a major in finance, Julia Scally.
Throughout my academic career at Strongsville, there are many educators that come to mind when thinking about my academic success. However, one has successfully stuck out to me. So for the last time tonight, Mr. Klein, can you come on stage? I would like to highlight Mr. Klein's influence and inspiration on my grit, my patience, and my will to keep trying. One of the unique aspects of being in Mr. Klein's class is that he is constantly challenging you. It was the first time I truly felt pushed out of my comfort zone, flipping over a test and realizing that not all the questions were like our practice problems. Nevertheless, I soon began to realize that Mr. Klein would give us the tools to figure out these problems, but to figure out the method and path to the answer on our own. Although this initial idea scared me as a student who was used to being taught the exact way to get an answer, it introduced me to a new way of thinking. As a result, I started to rely more on my confidence in myself rather than memorizing a formula or step-by-step method. For that, I thank Mr. Klein for aiming to push his students out of their comfort zone, because I know I was. Not only did Mr. Klein connect his students on an academic level, but he also made sure to connect to his students' interests. Often at my high school soccer games, I would hear the cheering and screaming of Mr. Klein supporting the team, and specifically some of his students. Even now in the hallways, after not having him as a teacher this year, he still asks about my track meets from the previous weekend and asks how I am doing. Knowing that a teacher cares more than just a surface level is a great feeling to have as a student and is why I chose Mr. Klein as the educator who has inspired me the most. For that, I thank you, Mr. Klein.
The next student attending the University of Florida with a major in public relations, Haley Smith.
Hello, I would like to welcome Ms. Hassler to the stage. My entire life, I've always been someone who thrives off of routine. I used to be the person whose favorite classes were the ones that involved sitting down and taking notes because the structure was comforting. Although I still do not mind those classes, taking AP Research with Ms. Hassler changed my entire perspective on learning. With research, there are no right and wrong answers, no tests and no barriers. Absolutely nothing about it falls into a routine. This was something that honestly scared me at first, but Ms. Hassler taught me to embrace it and always keep digging for more information. Throughout every step of the research process, Ms. Hassler would meet with every student in my class and discuss how everyone's projects were coming along. Every time I thought I had everything figured out, Ms. Hassler found something I had not addressed yet or something I could expand my ideas on. These critiques pushed me to think critically and gain as much knowledge as possible, and I fell in love with the trial and error of it all. Ms. Hassler's message to keep pushing myself and never settle for the bare minimum stuck with me. Even after AP Research class was over, I went on to get my research published in the International Academic Journal this year. Even though she was not my teacher anymore, Ms. Hassler remained interested in my process of publishing and all the updates I had along the way. If it was not for Ms. Hassler, I probably would have never done so well in AP Research and in all of the other classes I've taken since. Ms. Hassler was the most encouraging and inspiring teacher of my educational journey, and I thank her for always believing in my academic ability.
Published before she graduates. That is amazing.
Last but not least, attending the University of Alabama with a major in finance and public relations, Zoe Tran.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to invite up Mrs. Ambrosiak. Mrs. Ambrosiak not only inspired me to excel in school, but also to pursue any dreams my mind developed. As my talented and gifted educator from 3rd to 5th grade, she constantly pushed me to think outside the box. She always asked open-ended questions that allowed me to endlessly wonder and dive deeper into the topics we were learning and think about how they tied to the real world. When I went through an era where I dreamed of being an author, she would read every single book I wrote and provided countless words of encouragement for me to chase my dreams. She never failed to hear out my ideas regarding any subject. She taught me to be confident in my thoughts as a student, and even more importantly, taught me how to look at any school curriculum in a much bigger picture pertaining to the whole world. I am deeply grateful for Mrs. Ambrosiak's passion, guidance, and unwavering belief in my potential. Her influence sparked my early love for learning, and without her, I would not be the creative, driven, and goal-oriented individual I am today. Thank you.
Can we give another round of applause for all of the students? So just before I have a few closing words, I want to give some thanks to some people here that do help. I appreciate the shout out, Jude, but I do not do all of this by myself for sure. There are a lot of people that contribute. First off, I'd like to give a shout out to one of my assistant principals, Mr. Eric Castle. The high school associate principal, Mr. Sean Collins. The assistant principals here do an absurd amount of work, and they do not get the face time or the credit that they deserve. I certainly could not do this without them, so I appreciate you, gentlemen. I would also like to say thank you to our school board vice president, Mrs. Michelle Bissell, who is here supporting our students tonight. Thank you for attending. I'd like to thank the AV crew. These guys are at every one of these events, and they rarely they're kind of unsung heroes. They rarely get credit, so thank you guys for all that you've done this spring season. So, just to wrap up, I could stand up here and talk about all of the amazing academics, which I feel like I've done it, like this is like my 9 millionth awards this spring. I am proud of the fact that your kids have contributed to a school that increased from 1,002 to 1,150 AP exams this year, which means that if you count total AP exams and total number of students, roughly almost 60% of a student in this school is assigned to an AP exam, which is really quite amazing. Next year, we're slated to go about 1,250 AP exams. The achievement level of the students at this high school truly is something that our community should be proud of. It speaks to both the quality of families and the community. As a resident, I'm always amazed by how high of a quality our community really has. But it also speaks to your quality as parents. So students, give your parents a round of applause. We're now transitioning from buying your groceries to paying a very large college bill. Also, I'd like to give a huge shout out to the high school staff. It is Teacher Appreciation Week, and I have to tell you, we are blessed to have so many amazing teachers in this school, so could we give them a round of applause? Now I want to add, the teachers here tonight are amazing. They really are. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention that for every one of the teachers here, there is a teacher in our building who will never receive one of these because they work with students with disabilities, or they work in the middle of the road. By middle of the road, the kid who does not have a disability was also not taking AP courses. There are so many amazing educators here who will never get in this room, but every day when I walk through the halls, they do true yeoman's work in getting our kids to the finish line and a career pathway. They're not here, but can we give them a round of applause? And last but not least, finally, every year, this is my 5th year here, and the 5th time I've heard this, the speeches are the same every year. They really are. And what I mean by that is that if you listen closely, what you don't hear is how much homework they were given, how many A's, B's, C's, D's, F's. You didn't hear any of that. What you hear every year is you hear students talk about an experience with an educator who cares for them, protects them, pushes them sometimes when they need a little push, builds resilience, and makes better people out of them. And every year in the summer, first off, the first day after everyone leaves is my favorite day of the year. I walk in and just kind of sit in the chair for a minute. But much like your kids, I think about the things that happened this year. I don't think about all the assignments, and contrary to what my newsletter say, don't just run kids out of bathrooms and tow cars. But I think about like beating John Felton at rock, paper, scissors with 200 kids cheering us on in the cafeteria during rock, paper, scissors contest. I think about walking in on Mr. Klein's class and hearing some of his great humor. I meant that, Kevin, really. You know, this isn't just a job for us, for our staff. It truly is a labor of love. And every year, this is a culmination of why we do what we do and why it's worthwhile. And like I said earlier, that's why this is my favorite awards, because I'm so proud of your kids, as I'm sure you are. And I'm looking forward at some point in my career for them to come back and visit and show me how successful and the amazing things they've done, because I know they're going to do amazing things. So I thank you for attending tonight, and I will see all of you at commencement. Thank you.